welcome to my Friday 5, and by the way, it is Tuesday because last week was crazy, so straight away I'm going to get into this and make it short and sharp. This week's update is really summed up in 3 lines. 1 is we're hiring, 2 is we're growing, and 3 is I'm learning a whole lot. So number 1, we are hiring. We're looking actively hiring again for another 3D designer to join our team, a 3D artist to join our architectural visualization team. Sort of given it a sub-brand underneath Uncommon Studio. We're calling this side of the business Uncommon Visuals, and it's part of the business that's really picking up pace, and I'll talk a bit about that in the We're Growing segment. But we're hiring, so interviewed someone last week, actually based here in Petone, which is a massive win. But update number 1, we're hiring. So found a guy, he is a beast, a weapon, great quality output, works in the real estate space, so already he's working for himself currently. So this Friday he's starting a test project for us, which is going to be awesome, to see how he rolls, whether he can slot into our system, our output, our style, and obviously it's got to be a great culture match as well. And so we're hiring, looking for this. We've got someone on trial this Friday. They're going to do one of our client jobs, all paid, by the way, not just free work, not an intern. And if that all works out, I'm really just trialing something new where we're giving a potential hire an opportunity to actually not just trial out the work, but trial out the employer, me, and actually make sure that on both sides it's a good way fit, instead of having to dive in and figure out whether it's a good fit later down the track. So we're going to test things. So what I'm looking for is quality of output, initiative and what's the other one called? Initiative and intuition. So sort of giving him loose guidelines on the art direction and the output required, but also want to just see, does he come back with good questions? Does he come back fast or slow, or just looking at different metrics that I'm measuring in this process, which is really exciting to see what happens. I hope he's a good fit, and if he's watching this, then I hope you're a good fit and we join. And if not, this video will be awkward. So we're hiring. Number 2 is we're growing, and we're hiring because we're growing, and we're growing because we're hiring. It's kind of this great little cycle that's sort of happening at the moment in a bit of a growth season. We're growing, and the biggest thing to celebrate or just make point right now is that we've onboarded another local legend of a client, and we are now working with FH Group Developments, commonly known in Wellington as Friday Homes. They've sort of rebranded and have an umbrella brand, construction and new developments now, which is called FH Group Developments, which is really cool. So we're just wrapping up our first job for them, and then we'll be rolling into some future pipeline and really taking on a load from them, which is going to be awesome. So we are growing, and the pipeline of conversations and email, DM and phone calls is just super exciting. The people that we're meeting, the developers that are approaching us, and the developers that we're approaching. So just a whole lot of great convos going on, a lot of growth happening, and that's really exciting. But that leads me to point 3, which is I am learning. I'm learning as a business owner, as a leader. Going through all of this stuff is great. There's a lot of highlights in growth, but there's also, stress fractures. I can't even talk. Sort of like a liken back to when I played a lot of sport in school. Need to get more active now. Whenever you would come into a growth season, physically, you could get shin splints, you could get strains. There'd be, you're tearing muscle, you're rebuilding. So even though the growth is exciting, the progress is there, there's also pain and stretch and things that are attached to growth. And so experiencing that in business now. Teams growing, client bases growing, sort of brand on a, I would say small scale, but becoming known as a local company that does really high quality renders and marketing packages and branding for property developers here in New Zealand. So the brand's growing, which is really cool too. So a lot of wins this week in terms of growing, in terms of hiring, in terms of me developing and learning more as a leader. And but with that, there are still some decent work on. So for me as a leader, it's coming up with better systems. So reviewing each week, part of these videos, reviewing how did we do, how are we doing, how's the team doing, and how are our clients doing. So it's kind of like this And I guess how am I doing is this good question to ask, like how are our people doing? How is our work doing? How are our clients, and how are we leading as well? So learning a lot in that department. And I think for me, the biggest thing right now, like we're literally about to have baby number 2 any minute now, could be coming. I'm learning I've got to be healthy, so I need to get back into fitness, I need to get back into being active, I need to get back into some hobbies and being creative. I'm a creative person, and so sometimes if I'm doing too much work for a long period of time, I can become a little bit run down or feel a bit foggy. And so for me, a good fix for that is always getting fit and getting creative and getting social. So something I'm working on in the next week is making sure that I am getting back in the gym, that I am getting back connected with friends, and that I am also getting back connected to creative things that allow me to sort of feel alive, which is really cool. So that's me, that's the Friday 5. We're hiring, we're growing, and I'm learning. We'll see you next week.